Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever or wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I am your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. And joining me today to break down a slate larger than the one Fred Flintstone would use to clock in on his job, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
Pretty good. I'm joined by Mitch Marner, so he's going to help me throughout the show. But yeah, this is a really interesting slate. We got 11 games, not too many highly owned spots. It's going to be a GPP paradise tonight, so pretty excited about it.
Before we get too much further, want to say Solemn Remembrance Day here in Canada and Veterans Day down in the States. Obviously, like, I don't have a ton of military members in my family, but I know friends that are close to me and things like that. It's a very important day for them, and it should be a very important day for a lot of people. Our producer Mike, Marine veteran himself, we do have veterans on staff. Just want to say thank you to everybody, whether you're Canadian or American, serving us, keeping us safe. Thank you very much, and let's hope we can win you guys some money here tonight. Yeah. Let's talk about last night's slate a little bit. We just had a short little 3-gamer. Want to talk about Dallas first. Like, we talk about, like, the Matthews line, I think, is a good example because they were on the slate last night as well. It's like, you know, as long as they're putting up good 5-on-5 numbers, keep playing them. Dallas's top line is putting up exceptional 5-on-5 numbers, and they did score a goal last night, but they really haven't had a big game yet, and the whole team looks pretty bad, largely outside that top line. Like, what's your take on Dallas this year? Like, what's that top line going to do? Like, what do you think about that team overall?
And they just look old right now. I mean, Hintz looks, I mean, he scored a greasy goal last night, so hopefully that will, you know, open up a nice little run for them, because their numbers, they've been playing very well 5-on-5. They just haven't been scoring. But man, they, for whatever reason, Rick Bowness is like, yeah, let's put Sagan back with Radulov and Ben, and they just look like it's a over 40 league sometimes. Like, it's just brutal to watch. But I don't know. There is certainly, even though it's pretty much the same team, they're certainly not Stanley Cup contenders like they were a few years ago when they made it with the pretty much the same. I mean, Father Time catches up to all of us, and it looks like it's hitting them pretty hard right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it kind of, it's sad to see, because they do have a lot of exciting players that I like to watch, and they have some good young players too, like, you know, Hintz and Robertson and Heiskanen and those guys. And they just can't seem to put it together. But yeah, rough night for Dallas. Minnesota went into Arizona, kind of did the Minnesota thing. Like, I don't even know what to think about Arizona anymore, man. Like, we've seen some pretty bad teams. Like, I'm thinking Buffalo from 2015 to now. They look something else. Like, what's your take here on Arizona? Should they honestly be this bad?
I mean, if you're running out Andrew Ladd on the top line in, you know, 2021, you're going to get what you deserve here. You know, they're just going to be a brutal team. They're obviously rebuilding. You know, they have 1 million first-round picks this year, so I don't know. Hold
on. I think once you start sending Andrew Ladd and Louis Eriksson for regular shifts, you pretty much just kind of have to assume that the season is over. Like, I just feel bad for guys like Clayton Keller and Dmitry Yashkin. I think I feel bad more from a DFS perspective, because those are guys that can probably do pretty well if they're put into the right situation, but they're just not. But that's enough about last night. We have a monster slate that we have to get to here today. 11 games. Before we get too much further, just want to say thank you to Yahoo Fantasy for sponsoring our show. It's been our sponsor for most of the season, and we do have a little giveaway with Yahoo for first-time users. So if you want to try out Yahoo, maybe try some lower stakes or fewer sharks or whatever, we are going to have a giveaway. So stick around for that. And while you guys are here, if you could like and subscribe, I see 50 people in the channel, about 20 thumbs. If we could get some more thumbs up and some subscriptions, really helps us grow this channel, keeps these shows coming. So just click that subscribe button, and that's all you have to do. Okay, let's get this moving. We have Edmonton with a 2.8 implied goal total. They're going into Boston. The Bruins have a 3.3 implied goal total. Now, Edmonton and Boston, Edmonton won, Boston won, are obviously two of the top lines in hockey. They're lines that we always gravitate to whenever they're on the slate. Obviously, going into Boston is a very tough matchup for any top line, but it's Connor McDavid, and our top two stacks has the McDavid line coming in at 5 to 6% ownership. And I'm thinking if we can get a McDavid line at 5 or 6% ownership, no matter the matchup, we should be interested here. So what do you think, Josh?
Yeah, man, this is a huge slate, and I wish this, from a show standpoint, this was on the smaller slate, so we had more time to break it down. But I think, listen, they DK raised McDavid's price going into a very tough matchup, coming off a few bad games. So it's good. You actually have to think about it. If like McDavid was like 8,300, you just smash them in. It doesn't matter who they're playing. You could be playing a brick wall. You just put them in. But like tonight, you have to actually think about what you want to do. I think for me in GPPs, I think I'd rather go for a line stack with Boston one than Edmonton one. But what worries me is we're never going to see McDavid this low owned this season. So if there was a night to one off McDavid, I think tonight's the night. And like I am very against one-offing chalky players, especially ones that are on a power play, because if they have good games, someone else is coming with them. But McDavid currently projected under 10%. So if you're going to get obviously that's probably going to come up, and he's probably going to end up around 15%. Just it is what it is with McDavid. It doesn't matter the matchup, this and that. He's always highly owned. But I think this is the time where you can one off McDavid. He's matchup proof. This is the toughest matchup he has all season. We were talking about in Discord earlier today that the Edmonton Oilers have had cupcake matchups so far this season. So this is going to be a very true test for them. But, I think, you can put in McDavid. I think, especially if you're MMEing, you shouldn't cross off this line. You shouldn't cross off McDavid. I think you have to have some McDavid here. But for me, Boston one is a full stack. I prefer over Edmonton one as a full stack. I see Nick Foligno is back, which moves Craig Smith down the lineup. So I'm not too excited about Boston 2 or 3. Boston 3 is min price, but I don't think you need to get that, cost effective on this slate. There's a bunch of other values. So I think, we'll say Boston 3 for another day. I don't mind a little bit of Boston 2, but, Boston 1, Boston power play, and some Edmonton 1 for me.
Yeah. So we talk about how tough a matchup it is for McDavid, and it's reflected in our projections. Like he's projected for about 5 points lower than he would be if he were at home in a softer matchup, let's say. And he's still projected for 13 more points than any other center on the slate. Like this is like when you talk about one-offing McDavid, this is why. It's because no matter how tough the matchup is, he's still the best player in the world and can nuke anybody on any given night. So I'm with you. I'm not gonna have any Boston here tonight. I don't think. I think I'm gonna be more on the Edmonton side, and it's basically just an ownership thing. Not that Boston's is out of it's crazy or anything like that, but Boston's probably gonna be 10 to 15%, and McDavid's gonna be somewhere between 3 and 7, and that's just where I'm sitting. So Edmonton 1 for me out of this game. Boston 3 would be the line I would look at for depth. I don't like Nick Foligno on that second line. That scares me, man. I think like Nick Foligno, he was awful last year, not just with Toronto, in Columbus too. And he's like 35 or whatever now, like a 35-year-old checking winger. I'm sorry, he can't play with Taylor Hall. I don't think it'll be long until he's moved down to the bottom 6, and that's why I can't play him tonight. So Boston 3, if you need a filler, Edmonton 1 is where I'm focusing more on this game. On the blue line, is there anything that sticks out to you? Typically we say correlate, but I'm not super high on really stacking a lot out of this game. So like I could see playing a one-off Nurse or a one-off, Riley or one-off Grizzly. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Nurse as a one-off. I also like Brandon Carlo, min-priced. He's been seeing a bunch of minutes. Grizzly is fine as well. I prefer them to Forbert and min-price, so I think you can do that as well.
A quick question, a good question from YouTube chat. Is this game fadeable? Like if you're playing 3 lineups tonight, would you have any problems just saying nothing in this game for me?
Yeah, because it's not like this game is like you're going to get a 31, 40% McDavid, and you're like, oh God, if he has 2 points, I'm going to get absolutely annihilated. But if he's under 10% and he has like a 20 DK points, like you can still win. I would imagine, or I would hope at least, that there's going to be multiple paths to victory on this 11 game slate. So I think in 1 to 3 lineups with their ownership being relatively low. I think you can fade this. It's scary, but you don't have to have this game in a couple lineups if you don't want to.
Yeah, it's always scary saying Fade McDavid and Pasternak in the same game, but I think it is viable. All right, let's move it along. Calgary 2.9 implied goal total. They're going into Montreal. The Habs have a 2.6 implied goal total. Calgary hasn't named a starter yet. Looks like it might be Markstrom. That's might change a lot for me here tonight, as opposed to Dan Vladar starting in net. Calgary did change their lines around a bit. The second line is now Sean Monahan with Blake Coleman and Andrew Mangiapane. You and I neither of us are very high on Monahan, but we're both pretty high on Coleman and Mangiapane. So it seems like there's stuff up and down this Calgary lineup to like. What do you like?
Yeah, I'll start with that Calgary second line. And yeah, like Monahan isn't the Monahan he was 3-4 years ago, but he's still probably better than Backlund offensively right now. And he gets power play one time. So I think this is an upgrade. 3,200 power play one. Like, he's not Alex Wenberg. Sorry, Jake. Like, he can score goals. He shoots the puck. So I don't mind it. Like, this is a cheap spot. Like, yeah, the power play correlation isn't great, but I really like Andrew Mangiapane. I know a lot of other people do as well. Blake Coleman is a guy, who has shot volume. He's 3,900. If you see 16, 17 minutes, he's going to pay off at his price. So I think this is one of my favorite filler lines. Like, Montreal hasn't been good at all. Montreal's penalty kill is horrific. So, like, yeah, if you want to go to Calgary 1, by all means, lock and load. But I do like this Calgary 2 as a filler tonight. And then on the Montreal side, I mean, they've been a conundrum for me all season. Like, I'm going to lean towards the Dvorak Anderson line with Gallagher again, but like, ownership on the slate isn't a huge deal, but like 5-6% seems like a lot for a team with a 2.6 total at home going against the team in Calgary who has been very good defensively this season. I don't know how these line changes are going to affect them defensively, but I kind of just don't want to play Montreal at that ownership. And maybe that changes if it's not Markstrom, and hopefully we get that news this afternoon. But, I like Markstrom. I like Calgary. It's just until the Canadians can show some consistency for me, like, I'm just going to be under the field on them.
So I will say I do like Calgary too as a filler. No problem playing them, two-manning them, whatever you want to do. I think it's perfectly fine. Ownership in check. We like the line combinations. Mangiapane and Coleman are legitimate, top 6, if not top line wingers. So I do like Calgary too, but I think this is a Calgary 1 game for me. The thing is like that Montreal, Dvorak and Anderson are probably going to see a lot of that Lindholm-Kachuk line. And Dvorak and Anderson, after the first few games of the season, they've really taken a nosedive in their analytics. Like, I'm pretty sure Josh Anderson, aside from Mike Hoffman, is the worst in expected goal share on the Habs at like 40 or 41% over the last 8 or 9 games. Like, if Dvorak and Anderson are going to see like half their time against Lindholm, Kachuk, and Gojo, I think Lindholm, Kachuk, and Gojo are just going to throttle them.
You're gonna maul them, yeah.
Yeah. So you combine that with a bad Montreal penalty kill that takes way too many penalties. Like, Calgary 1 is legitimately one of my favorite top lines tonight, home or away. So Calgary 1, Calgary 2 filler if you want, that's fine. On the Montreal side, I kind of like that. I do like that Lehkonen and Armia 2-man again. Like, they are good defensively. They can drive the play. I think they might be in tough against a third-line Calgary matchup, but, Dylan Dubé's not a great two-way player. Michael Backlund's not the defensive center, like you mentioned, he was a few years ago. So Lehkonen and Armia 2-man makes sense to me from the Montreal side, but nothing else for me from them. It's all about Calgary 1. Blue line, I don't know. I think Jeff Petry's getting pretty much unplayable now. I'd just be correlating outside of that.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Petry. That's something for another day. But Rasmus Anderson, if you're using Calgary 1, I think it's fine. He's only 4,100 now. He was like 6,000 earlier in the season, which was unplayable, but 4,100 is fine. Nothing really outside of correlating for me in this game.
Yep, I can perfectly agree with that. Give us a like and subscribe so you can keep up with all our DFS offers, our giveaways, our shows, and a whole lot more. Click that notification button to get an alert when we go live. And be sure to check out our free premium tools and data that we have up on the site. We typically have them every day, some free stuff for people to check out. Today, it's NBA player projections, Thursday night football top plays, NHL top stacks that we've been talking about already today. And for a limited time only, our college basketball DFS projections. And if you're playing NBA DFS tonight, be sure to check out Adam Schur's NBA Deep Dive, which is the most in-depth and free NBA DFS article that you'll find anywhere. Okay. Next game, Los Angeles, 2.9. Going into Ottawa, 2.7 for the Sens. I think the big note here is obviously all the COVID issues. I think the Sens are up to 8 players plus a coach on the COVID list. Now, it's none of their superstars. Like Shabbat is playing, Tkachuk is playing, Norris is playing, Batherson is playing, Stützle is playing. All those guys are playing. The entire depth has been gutted, though. Like outside the top 5 or 6 skaters on Ottawa, their depth has been completely gutted. They're saying the game might even be canceled. So that's another thing to keep in mind. They may have to postpone this game because like almost half the team's on the COVID list now. So just beware for that. I think you and I are probably going to be on the same page of this game, assuming that it goes. So what do you have, Josh?
Yeah, my favorite bet before the season was LA Kings to make the playoffs at plus 290. Everyone was giving me crap. Hello, they're very good. Okay, you said you asked me if I wanted to put some more stuff into existence here. When Victor Arvidsson comes back and Kempe moves down to the second line with Iafal and Danault, I want some Andre Athanasiou, Rasmus Kupari, Arthur Kaliev, third line. That's going to be a spicy meatball down the line.
Arthur Kaliev and Athanasiou on the same line.
Listen, stack against, do whatever you have to do. That is going to be the most high event line in hockey. It's going to be awesome to see. Anyway, there's a lot to like on the Kings side here. Zach Sanford on the top line for the Senators doesn't really do it for me. If you want to go to that top line, that's fine. My favorite spot in this game is going back to LA2 here. Iafallo, Danault, Athanasiou. Iafallo has become like another McDavid over the weekend. I didn't get that memo either, but he is shooting the puck. He is scoring the puck. He's 5,300 on the top power play. I think you can power play stack if you want as well. You know, Senators not great. So Kings top 6 I really like. On the Ottawa side, you know, you see Brady Tkachuk ownership, like he might be one of the highest owned players on the slate according to our projections. And I don't know, like if you want to play Norris Tkachuk, that's fine. But at that ownership, I'm going to take a pass. I do like that second line is Stützle, Paul Batherson. But again, their ownership is a little too high. Like, yeah, the Kopitar matchup isn't what it was, but he's still Kopitar. Like, you know, Dustin Brown has fallen off a little bit. Kempe, not the best defensive player, but like the Kings have looked pretty good recently. So if you want to do Norris Tkachuk, that's fine. Stützle, Paul Batherson is probably be the line that I would stack. I just worry about ownership on the Sens side with all the COVID issues.
Yeah, I'm probably more high on Ottawa's top line, but like I just don't think Zach Sanford is a good fit there. Like I just don't see him as a fit. Like he reminds me of a worse Brady Tkachuk. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't need a worse Brady Tkachuk on a line that has a good Brady Tkachuk. Like
you
it's
need
just
Walmart
anyway.
Tkachuk when you have, you know.
So then I look at the Ottawa second line, Stützle and Batherson, I think would make a nice 2-man. So don't mind using them, but I think I'm just going back to the LA Kings second line. Like their numbers remain great, whether it's Athanasiou there or whether I think Kupari had a game there. Like it doesn't matter who the wingers have been. The line's still just absolutely rolling along. So I follow Danault, Athanasiou, 2-man stack, 3-man stack, whatever you want to do. A PP2 stack with Athanasiou, Danault, and Roy, I think would even make sense. I just really like that second line from Los Angeles, 3.8 expected goals. I know it's a small sample, but Danault and Iafallo have been almost as good in a much larger sample. So yeah, back to Los Angeles too. On the blue line, like Thomas Chabot, he's playing more minutes lately. It seems like they're just giving more minutes to him and less minutes to everyone else. So I guess Chabot as a one-off makes sense. Anybody else stick out?
Yeah. Artem Zub, his minutes have gone down to like 16, 17 a game. So he's unplayable now. Sorry, son. But Nikita Zaitsev at 3K with Chabot, not too bad if you need a punt. You know, like you mentioned, Matt Roy, if you're doing LA2. Other than that, you know, Cal Clay if you're power play stacking, but other than that, just a little bit of Zaitsev.
All right. Next game, New York Islanders, 2.9 implied goal total. They're going into New Jersey. The Devils have a 2.5 implied goal total. Looks like Dougie Hamilton back for New Jersey. That's a pretty big addition for them. It probably pushes Damon Severson off the power play and Ty Smith to the second power play unit. So that's a big bit of a ding for Damon Severson and Ty Smith both. I don't know what's going on with the Islanders. I mean, they're starting the season on a 13-game road trip, which I didn't realize. Like I knew they were starting on a road trip. I didn't realize it was going to last until pretty much middle of November. I haven't seen any lines from them like for days other than games. I don't even know if they're practicing. If they are, the media is not sharing anything. I'm assuming their lines have stayed together. Like I see the Islanders with a much higher implied goal total than the Devils. And I like the Devils side. So maybe I need you to talk me off the ledge here a little bit, Josh.
I don't talk, I push. So
I love that quote.
First of all, I was off NJ2 last slate and it burned me bad. I was wrong. Look at me admitting I'm wrong. A tout admitting he's wrong. Put me on the cross. But no, I do like the Devils side. I like the Devils top six night. Like if you didn't know the Islanders in the NHL, like you wouldn't know. Like they don't have beat writers anymore. Arthur Staples, 600 years old, sending his shit in on a typewriter. Look at my mouth, I'm going crazy. But anyway, Devil side, like Nico Hischier, Zacha, Holtz. Holtz, top power play, min price. What more do you need? Like he's a good prospect. He's not some guy. He's an actual prospect. Probably going to get the Barzal Lee matchup. And, that matchup's okay. Like with Josh Bailey there, he's not a great defensive player. And then even the second line, like they probably see a fair bit of that Brock Nelson Beauvillier matchup, which is the toughest on the Islanders. But like the Islanders have played like one or two games in the past week. They're obviously we talked about that last time and it burned us really bad, but I'm on the Devils here. Their ownership is so low. It's 1%, 2% for either of these lines. Like it's a matter of preference here. The first line's fully correlated. I think that's fine. The second line has Dawson Mercer on the top power play, and then Andreas Janssen, who looks like he's rehashing his Toronto days a little bit the past few days, and Jesper Bratt on power play too. And they're so cheap. Like they're a very good filler line. So yeah, Devils top six for me. And then you look at the Islanders side, like there is absolutely, like you think the Devils ownership is low. There's absolutely no ownership on the Islanders. Like, are they even in the NHL? We don't even know. So like, I don't mind a little bit of the Islanders in GPPs. Like you don't have to go crazy, but it is the Devils. You know what I mean? They're not world beaters defensively. If they're going to come in under 1%, I think, if you're making 20 lineups, just having them in 1 of 20 gets you 5 times the field. So I don't mind that in GPPs.
Yeah, the thing that sticks out with the Islanders for me is the price, right? Mm-hmm. Beauvillier 6,500, Brock Nelson 6,500.
That's crazy.
So even if you want a two-man, or if you want to play the second line for the Islanders on the road, they're coming in at like 18K. I'm not paying that.
Yeah. So I mean, unless you find like a filler line that you really like, and I think there's a bunch. So like, you don't have to go crazy, but like just 1 of 20 is going to get you way over the field.
Yeah, it's just I just don't want to, like, 18K on the road, like for a second line just doesn't really excite me. I think this game is about the New Jersey top line. I'm going to be honest with you. Like Alexander Holtz min price really changed on power play 1, does a lot for me in my projections. Now the Islanders don't take a lot of penalties, so like we're not specifically focusing on the power play. I want to focus on the top line for the Islanders. I don't think people realize, like you and I have talked about how Jordan Eberle has the loss of Jordan Eberle has impacted that top line. Here are the numbers. With Jordan Eberle over the last 2 seasons, the top line is 59.5% Corsi 4 shot share. Without him, 49.6% shot share. Expected goal share goes from 65% to 49%. They're just not doing anything with Jordan Eberle off that line. And I think people are still hanging on to the Islanders, the great defensive Islanders teams of last year, the year before. Maybe they still are, they haven't played like it, and I want to take advantage of that in case they aren't. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely going to get some Devils 1 in here tonight. Devils 2, probably I'm going to have a little bit, but for me, I'm more excited about the New Jersey top line in this game. With Dougie Hamilton back, I think you can correlate with your top line, but 7,500 is a pretty steep price to pay. So like, I don't know, maybe if you wanted to leave like Zaka off and just go Holtz, Hischier, and Hamilton or something like that. So that's where I am on this game. New Jersey 1, maybe some Islanders 2, if you, like Josh said, if you really like the filler stacks. On the blue line, there's really not a lot that sticks out for me. I mean, Adam Pelech at 3,300, just because of what he's done in seasons past, will always stick out to me. Is there anybody else that sticks out to you?
Yeah, I agree. And on the Dougie point, like I don't mind putting him in just because Holtz is min price. So like they're only 13K, NJ1's 13K flat to stack them. So you put in Dougie and it's 25 or 20,500. So it's honestly not too bad, but you know, if you want to leave off Zaka and put in like a Dawson Mercer to save the 1,400 and get 2C to get a little bit even more different, I think that's perfectly fine as well. And I agree with you on the Pelech. Mayfield's a little too expensive, and I'm not really itching to play any, you know, Devils defenseman. I may have Ty Smith if I need a min price punt.
Yep. Yeah, don't mind him for min price punt, especially if you're stacking that second Devils line. Get access to all the great Awesemo Plus tools and content for nearly every DFS sport out there with an Awesemo Plus weekly pass for $29.95. This includes full access to all the premium content and tools on awesemo.com, including player projections, ownership projections, our Discord, lineup builder, and a whole lot more. If you're a new user of Awesemo Plus Platinum, then you can take advantage of the promo code we have for this show, which is NHL Strategy Show, all caps, all one word. That's NHL Strategy Show for 25% off your first week of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You can find the link to activate this coupon in the description of the video below. And of course, if you're only looking to play NHL DFS, then you can sign up for one of our Awesemo Plus NHL weekly packages for as low as $3.95 a week. Stop guessing, start winning. Join Awesemo Plus today. All caps, all one word. NHL Strategy Show is your promo code for first-time users. All right, Florida 3.1 implied goal total. They're going into Pittsburgh. The Penguins have a 2.9 implied goal total. I think there's a lot to like on both sides here. We're probably going to have to talk about both teams' top sixes, lots of defensemen. So let's just get right to it. What do you like, Josh?
Yeah, first of all, Pitt 3 is going to go out against Florida 1, and that Teddy Bluger line in a very sizable sample. It's not like a 20-minute sample. It's up over 100 minutes. You know, they're allowing nothing. Like they're literally allowing very little, and they're going to get the Barkov line for the most part at 5-on-5. And Barkov line with Verhaeghe and Duclair is one of the best lines in the NHL. So I don't know if you need to get there on this big of a slate, but you can have some Florida 1 if you want. I'm probably going to be pretty low on them. Where I am concentrating on Florida is Florida 2. They're going to get the Carter Russ Gensel matchup for the most part, and that line in a very small sample has been very, 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 very high event. I think, you know, Florida 2, Pittsburgh 1 is where I'm concentrating here. I also like Pitt 2. I'll get there in a second, but Bennett, Huberdeau, Tippett. You get power play 1 with Bennett and Huberdeau. I would imagine he gets, you know, comes back and gets the power play 1 spot. So I like Florida 2 here. On the Pittsburgh side, I like that Zucker Rodriguez Kapanen line. You're going to get the bottom 6 of the Panthers a good amount of the time, and they're not great defensively. So, and they're a pretty cheap filler. So it's another filler line that I like. And if you want to use that top line for Pittsburgh, I think that's perfectly fine as well. Fully correlated going into the Sam Bennett matchup, which has been pretty good, but you know, with these two lines, it's going to be a very high event pace. So I like Florida 2, Pitt top 6, a little bit of Florida 1 for FOMO reasons. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I agree with you on Florida too, because like good offensive line, great numbers together, good offensive numbers last year and this year. I'm going Pittsburgh 1 because they're going up against Florida 2, because Florida 2, for as good as they are offensively, they're not elite defensively. You know what I mean? So I think Pittsburgh 1 can generate some shots here tonight. And if you look at the shot rates league wide, like Jeff Carter and Brian Rust, I think are 10th and 11th in the entire league in shot rates so far this season per 60 minutes. And then Jake Gensel is being added to that top line, and Gensel might be the best scorer out of all of them. So I think this is a good spot for that top line, perfectly correlated on the power play together. And Florida is one of the most penalized teams in the NHL, coming in at 3.8 penalties per game. So if you give this Pittsburgh top line, which has been generating a lot of shots, you know, a fair matchup at 5-on-5 against the Bennett line, a fair to good matchup, and then a really good special teams matchup. I think Pittsburgh they're climbing up my ranks as one of my favorite stacks on the day, and they're not very high owned. We have them single digits, probably around 6 or 7%. So yeah, Pitt 1, definitely one of my favorite top lines on the slate here. But I agree with you on Florida 2. Still one of my favorite fillers. And the nice thing about Florida 2 is that people seem to be off of them. Ownership in check. They're not coming in at 11, 12, 13% anymore. So because those two lines are going against each other, like when I'm making my lineups, I'd probably pick one or the other. Like if I'm making 10 lineups, I'd either pick 3 with Pitt 1 or 3 with Florida 2. I wouldn't have 3 with Pitt 1 and 3 with Florida 2. You know what I mean? Because you don't want, they're kind of canceling each other out. But I do like both those lines in this matchup. On the blue line, I mean, I think, you know, correlating the guys makes sense. Mike Matheson, 3,500. He's you know, he's one of those bonus guys that we kind of like. Is there anybody else that sticks out to you?
Not really. I mean, Matheson's been getting crazy minutes too, so I think he's fine at 3,500. Forsling's a little too expensive for me at 46. Uyghur 49, kind of no man's land. So, you know, Matheson's really about it from this game for me.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, we'll get to the next one. Washington with a 3.2 implied goal total going into Detroit. The Red Wings have a 2.9 implied goal total. Some injury news here. Lucas Raymond is a game time decision for Detroit. I'm building as if he's going to play. I don't think he's going to miss anything. I think the one to worry about more is Philip Hronek. He's 3,500. Had been getting some more minutes, some power play time, but he's a game time decision as well. Washington is starting Zach Fucale in net. Fucale was a guy, he's put up some good AHL numbers over his last few years, but he's 27 years old and has never played an NHL game. You know, we've seen Kevin Lankinen had never played an NHL game, I believe, until last year, and then he had a great start. So it's not to say that he can't do it, but when I see a 26 or 27-year-old goalie getting his first NHL start, I kind of start licking my chops. What do you think here, Josh?
Yeah, there's some stuff to like on both sides here. And I'm did Larkin go out against, what was it, Matthews the other night?
I'll double check that while you keep going.
Yeah, okay. So I'll start with Washington. You know, listen, it doesn't matter the matchup for me for the Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, Wilson line. If you want to use them, you know, obviously a good play, pretty pricey, but ownership again in check. Obviously Ovechkin's going to be high owned. He always is. He's like a McDavid, so you can use them. That second line I really like as a filler. Sheary, McMichael, Sprong. They are 71 under 10,000 the full stack, and they're coming in around 1%. I think that's going to come up a little bit, but still, if they're around 2-3%, that is one of my favorite filler lines tonight. Getting, you know, depth of the Detroit, which I guess is almost an oxymoron, but I like Washington 2. I really like Washington 1. I also like Washington power play. You can get creative if you're worried about Ovechkin's ownership. You can put Sheary in. You can, you know, do the things, because you can put Sprong in with Sheary, Sprong with Ovechkin, because Ovechkin plays all 2 minutes, this and that. And then, you know, on the Detroit side, if, you know, the Rasmussen Ernie line is going to go out against Kuznetsov.
Yeah, just to jump in, last game they sent out Larkin almost every shift against McDavid.
Okay, so chances are Larkin's going to go out against Kuznetsov, Ovechkin tonight, which kind of takes me off Detroit 1 here a little bit, just because.
Yeah, no, sorry, go ahead.
It kind of takes me. Well, first of all, we need Lucas Raymond news, and it's not a 7 p.m. lock. It's a flex game at 7:30. The Wings are always in this 7:30 game, and it drives you crazy. But that's for another time. But if Raymond's in, even with Raymond in, like Ovechkin, Kuznetsov have been pretty good defensively this year, and I don't really like, you know, going against like if I'm going to play Ovechkin, I'm definitely not playing Detroit 1, but I worry at the 7:30 start, like especially with it being the Wings, like, oh yeah, I got 38% Detroit 1. I got to check, rerun my crunches. Like it's not something I want to do with the Red Wings. So I'm probably going to be under the field on the Wings tonight, just, from news standpoint and with a matchup standpoint, I'm probably just going to look for, wait for the Hronik news. Cause I really do like him tonight if he's in.
Yeah. I know we were always kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop with Washington's top line and their defensive numbers, because they were really bad last year, started strong this year. And we were just like, just wait until we get 10 or 12 games. They've stayed strong this season. So it's a tougher matchup for Detroit 1 than we probably would have thought even a couple weeks ago. That's what's kind of driving me to Detroit 2 here. Detroit 2's numbers pretty good on the season. I'm seeing 3.6 expected goals for. Washington's second line, I know it's a small sample, but McMichael and Sheary without Oshie, not very good. And I don't have a lot of confidence in Daniel Sprong's defensive ability. So I like Detroit 2 as a filler stack here quite a bit tonight. I think they get a soft in-game matchup. I'm looking at our top 2 stacks. They're coming in at literally 1%. So right where we have them. I think they're a perfect filler stack for your Edmonton and Boston stacks. So I'm off. Like, I'll never say no to one-offing Ovechkin. I'm probably going to have some one-off Ovechkin here tonight, but I don't think I'm going to outright stack the line. So Detroit 2 is where I'm focusing on this game. On the blue line, I would like Hronik if he plays, just correlating other than that.
Agreed.
All right, let's move it along then. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you play in your first paid contest, and we'll reach out via email with your coupon. If you need immediate access, email support@awesemo.com and we'll get you set up right away. You can also claim a free $10 below, which can be used to enter any Yahoo contest. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. So if you want to avoid some of the sharks and get used to MMEing and all that stuff in your research process, I cannot recommend going to Yahoo enough. So you can get a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum out of it. Not a bad deal at all. Check out the link below. All right, next game, Nashville, 2.4 implied goal total. They're going into St. Louis. The Blues have a 3.2 implied goal total. Nashville played last night. They won 4-2, but that takes UC Saros out of the running for starting today. I think David Riddick is back now. Looks like Riddick Bowe is going to be starting for Nashville in net. St. Louis looks to be running the same line, same power play. So what do you like out of this game, Josh?
I like St. Louis 1. They're fully correlated. They're not very expensive. Their ownership's under 10%. Yeah, maybe 10% is a tad high on an 11-game slate. But they fully correlate on the power play. Nashville's back-to-back on the road. People will probably leave Sod off. I'll probably leave Sod on and be sad that I use Sod. But I'm going to have all of St. Louis 1 for me. I don't really like the second and third lines. I'll maybe one off of Buchnevich. I'll maybe have some Tarasenko just because he's on the top power play. And he's not, he's still 6,800, which is a tad expensive to me. But, it's not Saros. It's Riddick. But yeah, St. Louis 1 is for me, and that takes me out on Nashville 1. If you want to have a little bit of Nashville 2, go for it, but I'm not paying $5,900 for Ryan Johansson. If you want to one off at $2,600, Tanner Jeannot, I think that's fine. He is a shot machine. No power play time there, but if you're desperate for a near min price guy that has shooting potential, you could do worse than Jeannot. So this is basically St. Louis 1 game for me, though.
Yeah, I love St. Louis 1 as well. Nashville, one of the most penalized teams in the NHL. The penalty kill is fine, but I'd rather take the volume of 4 or 5 potential power plays for St. Louis here tonight. So I really do like that top line. We talked about expected goals in our Discord earlier. St. Louis is one of those teams, especially O'Reilly and Perron. They just always outscore their expected goals. it's just one of those quirks of the analytics of the stats we use. So even though their even strength numbers don't look great by the analytics, I'm not too concerned about them scoring. I do like the second line as well, Thomas, Barbashev, Tarasenko, but like I just don't know what I would stack there, right?
Yeah.
I don't like Thomas. He's a cheaper Ryan Johansson. You know what I mean? Like I like using him. I would two-man. Like I have no problem two-manning him. I just think I'd rather get to the St. Louis top line, get that perfect correlation on the power play. Justin Falk on the blue line. I think he's played 25 minutes in 3 straight games or something like that with like 12 blocks or something. So, or 10 blocks, something crazy. So Justin Falk obviously is a defenseman that I like here tonight. Anybody else sticking out on the blue line to you?
Yeah, I hate that I like Falk tonight because he is one of like the most hated players in my DFS book, but I do really like him tonight. Josie 8K back-to-back on the road. Like he's 5.8% in our ownership projections just because Jake loaded in like 79%. So but like, I don't know, 8K back-to-back on the road. I'm probably going to take a pass. I just correlate tonight.
All right, fair enough. Let's get to the next game then. They had these same implied goal totals as the last one. San Jose 2.4 going into Winnipeg 3.2. News for Winnipeg, no Paul Stastny again on that second line. San Jose's not getting any of their guys back either, so it's the same San Jose lineup as the last time out. And I want to point out to you that without Timo Meier this year, Logan Couture's Corsi for percentage is 40%. That's bad. We make fun of Winnipeg a lot, but it seems like a Winnipeg night, Josh.
Yeah, and if you sort by negative leverage in our top stacks tool, you will find Adam Lowry, Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler right at the top.
Yeah, we have them as the second highest owned line on the entire slate, just so everybody's clear.
Yeah, second highest owned line, and oh baby, I don't know if I can get to dusty old Blake Wheeler and GPPs tonight at that ownership percentage. And I wish Stastny was back because I would love to use Stastny Cop Ehlers tonight, but Jansen Harkins isn't that. If you want to, do like a 3-man of Cop Ehlers Connor, I think that's fine for a little power play here. There just isn't something I would full stack on Winnipeg tonight. I think I'll just take bits and pieces from these lines. I like the Dubois Connor 2-man. You want to throw in Evgeny Svechnikov, but he's just kind of a vessel on that line. Like I'd rather, I think you can leave him off, but like Dubois Connor is a 2-man I'd use. Scheifele and Wheeler is a 2-man I'd use, but like not in GPPs. Just at that ownership, it's just too high. Cop Ehlers is fine as well. So no full stacking. I'll take some bits and pieces from 3 lines here. On the Sharks, like I don't want to use that top line, even though they're fully correlated. Like Nick Bonino, min price, my guy. But like Couture, like you mentioned, Couture's numbers have fallen off a cliff without your boy Timo Meier. So like there just isn't much to like here. And why is Tomas Hertl still on the second power play unit? Like what is the coach doing? Like it's just galaxy braining. So like I'm off on the Sharks tonight. Maybe someone on the blue line, maybe not. So not much from the Shark side for me.
Yeah, I don't mind San Jose's top line for this reason. They're perfectly correlated, and Winnipeg's penalty kill sucks. So like any penalty kill can put up any power play can put up a couple goals against this Jets penalty kill. So I'm not going to force them in when I do my crunches. If they find their way into my lineups, I'm just not going to take them out. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. On the Winnipeg side, I do like Scheifele and Wheeler, but apparently so does everybody else. We should note Adam Lowry has brought their numbers to respectability. Like Scheifele and Wheeler have struggled for years defensively. Adam Lowry seems to have helped them right that ship a little bit. So that's kind of why like I like them more than usual, is because their 5-on-5 numbers are actually good for once. For me, I think I'd rather go to the Ehlers Cops 2-man on that second line. Not worried about any San Jose matchup. Ehlers, I think he's leading the league in shot rate, or one of the most, and he's shown some good chemistry with Cops. So yeah, Winnipeg 2 and 3. San Jose top line for power play stack if you want. On the blue line, probably just correlating for me. Anything different for you?
Yeah, man, I just do not like the defenseman in this game. Looking at it, like just correlating for me if I had to.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just correlating defensemen here. The Awesemo Hall of Fame is where we like to celebrate all of our winners here. So if you want to know how you can get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame, this is how. You download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You place in the top 3 of a contest with over 5,000 contestants, and then you tweet the wins to the Awesemo HOF account on Twitter. That's it. You can win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Now, a reminder, you can only win 1 free month a year. You can't keep getting these. If you win every month, you won't need them if you win every month. But we do love to celebrate our winners here at the Awesemo Hall of Fame. And it doesn't matter if it's $100 or $1,000, as we're showing right now. 500, I see a 20K takedown in NFL. And I also see a $500 takedown. I saw a $500 takedown in NBA. I see Seth ends up in the Awesemo Hall of Fame. Shout out to Seth. We do like to celebrate you guys. So if you do place top 3 in a contest with at least 5,000 people, make sure you have our avatar as your avatar, and then tweet the wins to the Awesemo Hall.
Do we like celebrating Seth though?
Hey, we celebrate everybody here, and that's including Seth. Let's move it along to our next game. 2.3 implied goal total for Vancouver. They're going into Colorado. The Avs are sitting at a 3.3 implied goal total. Now, Colorado's going to be without Nathan MacKinnon for the next little while. He's injured. Looks like he's going to be out until probably December. Funny thing, I was looking at Colorado 1's numbers without Nathan MacKinnon. Still pretty good. So I kind of get where the implied goals are coming from here. I think Vancouver might be getting overlooked, but I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah. Oh, JT Confer. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, I agree. Colorado won. They're going to get like Miller, Patterson, Besser. And outside of that, really, the first time they got put together, I think, 2 seasons ago, like their numbers have been very pedestrian. Even like defensively too, like they're not great. There isn't a matchup on Vancouver that's going to scare me off Colorado tonight. Vancouver penalty kill is atrocious. I think this is a very good power play spot for the Avs tonight. It's a good 5-on-5 matchup. Like even that second line too. So like as much as I like that first line because they're fully correlated, that second line going against like Horvat, Pearson, and Hoglander, like they have not been great historically. Maybe they've been a bit better this year. And I'd have to check on that. I don't have this year's numbers in front of me, but you know, Nichushkin is back and his numbers with Burakovsky are just crazy good. Kadri there is probably not going to hurt them too much. So like maybe it's not for tonight, but like I do like them as a filler stack. But for me, I'm concentrating on Colorado power play. And I do like Vancouver as well. Like Darcy Kemper, 8,700. I think that's the highest the goalie's been this season. I don't really understand that pricing. Like on the flip side, Demko 6,700. So like he's going to see volume. So he's one of those guys that you can put in as well. But yeah, I like both top sixes for both teams tonight. It's just, for me, my favorite spot is the Colorado top line.
Yeah, I do love that Colorado top line as well. I do wonder, like, I think they get overlooked without Nathan MacKinnon, and we do have them coming in at half the ownership of their expected top 2 stack. We expect them to be a top 2 12% of the time. They're coming in at 6%. That gives us one of our better leverage lines on the night. So I do like that Colorado top line. The Vancouver second line, the Hoglander, Horvat, Pearson, they've been pretty good this year, which kind of shies me away from Colorado. I think I agree with you. I do like that Colorado second line a lot. I just don't think tonight's necessarily the game for it. I think it's a tough matchup against that Vancouver second line. And Nichushkin's first game back from, a month with an injury. Like, I kind of want to see, and he's not a huge goal scorer anyway, so I kind of want to see how he looks. So, yeah, Colorado 1 plus Makar for me. Vancouver, I just want to mention, Colorado's penalty kill is pretty bad this year. I think a sneaky Vancouver power play stack, if you're playing 150 or 20, is just fine. So if you want to get a little bit different, I don't mind a Vancouver power play stack here, but that's all I like from that side. Colorado 1 for me is what I'm about in this game. On the blue line, obviously, Makar correlating. We should mention Cale Makar's back. Still
That's
on
good.
IR on DK. He was on IR on DK earlier today. I don't know if he still is, but he's back. I don't know. Anybody else kind of stick out to you for defenseman here? There's nothing really that sticks out to me.
No, and Jack Johnson, Eric Johnson, Johnson and Johnson pairing tonight. Good Lord, if they see more than 10 minutes tonight, give me whoever sees them.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that Jason Dick. Like, I'm not stacking Jason Dickinson or something like that. Before we get out of here, we have a few minutes left, couple more games. Give us a like and subscribe so you can keep up with all our DFS shows, our DFS offers, our DFS giveaways, everything that we have at this channel, and click that notification button so you can get alerts when we do go live. All right, Minnesota 2.8 implied goal total. They're going into Vegas. The Golden Knights have a 2.8 implied goal total. A little bit of a lineup news here. Keegan Kolesar is on the second line now. Will Carrier is out for Vegas tonight. I think that weakens that Vegas second line, and quite honestly, it was a line that I had a little bit of interest in. I don't have any interest in them anymore. Would you have interest in this game, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, like, normally on these huge slates, Minnesota back-to-back on the road, I'm just not going to give them much thought. But, like, I think there is some spots to like on Minnesota tonight. With Keegan Kolesar on that Stevenson line going into the Eriksson, Fiala, Foligno line, like, with Fiala there, like, even their defensive numbers are good. That line has been good. And I like them again tonight. They're 1% owned. Like, the ownership is 1%. I think it won't take much to get over the field, obviously. And then you look at the highest stack of the night, Vegas won. Roy, Riley Smith, Marchessault, like, I don't understand it. Yeah, they're super cheap, and yeah, Minnesota's back-to-back on the road, and yeah, and woo. But, like, Minnesota's actually a better team than I thought they're going to be, and it's not, Willem Carlson, it's not Stone, it's not Pacioretty. It's Nicholas Roy with Jonathan Marchessault and Riley Smith. So I'm going to fade them there at that ownership. It's just too easy of a fade for me in GPPs. So for me, this is a Minnesota game. I like their top six again. Like, the ownership is definitely driving that as well. But I think this is a decent matchup for them, and their prices are, fairly decent. Like, yeah, Kaprizov is 7,300. And that top line is a little expensive, but, Foligno has actually been pretty good offensively, and he's still only 3,200. So I really like that Minnesota top line again tonight.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add. I really do like that top line. In their careers together, Fiala and Eriksson Ek, when they're on the ice, about 190 minutes, 3.7 expected goals for per 60 minutes. They're just really, really great. So Eriksson Ek and Fiala, add Foligno if you want. Do like that Minnesota top line. On the blue line, like, on the Vegas side, McNabb at 2,600 really sticks out to me. I think that's far too cheap if you need a punt. On the Minnesota side, there's really not a lot that sticks out to me besides correlating the defense. And I do like that price drop on Jared Spurgeon, though.
Yeah, I like Spurgeon correlating, and I agree with McNabb.
All right. Last game, Anaheim, 2.5 implied goal total. They're going into Seattle. The Kraken have a 3.0 implied goal total. Seattle is going to be welcoming back Jared McCann. He goes to the top line with Jaden Schwartz and Jordan Eberle. Alex Wennberg down to what is technically the third line, I guess. So everybody getting moved around here. Trevor Zegras came back for Anaheim in their last game, and then they stuck him with Sonny Milano and Nicholas Delorier. So go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, and Yanni Gourde is a game time decision, which would definitely hurt Seattle as well. Troy Terry's on a 674 point game streak. Like, he just does not stop scoring. But, like, I don't know. I don't really like, stacking the Ducks tonight. I don't really like stacking the Seattle tonight unless we get definitive Yanni Gourde news. So that would just keep me to the top line of McCann, Schwartz, Eberle. They're bit, like 7% is a bit high, but it is the Ducks. I'm going to be under the field on Seattle. I really do like John Gibson at his price tonight. So there's not much from Skater's side that I really like in this game.
I will say I do like that Seattle third line a lot. Wennberg, Yarncroc, Tanev. Yarncroc and Tanev have played very well together this year, and I think Wennberg can do well. So that's a filler line for me. Nothing on the Anaheim side. So that's going to wrap up the slate. Before we get out of here, Josh, I'm going to ask you for your hat trick pick and your favorite goalie. My hat trick pick is Brian Rust. My favorite goalie on the slate is Cam Talbot.
I like Gibson and Mackenzie Blackwood on top of Talbot, and my hat trick pick is going to be Alex Iafallo.
There you go. Alex Iafallo, Brian Rust, your hat trick picks. For Mike, the veteran, our Marine veteran, are doing the producing. For Josh, saying Mitch Marner absolutely rules. I'm Michael Clifford saying good luck tonight, everybody, and we'll see you again on Saturday morning.